Capgras syndrome causes a person to mistakenly believe that someone they know, even their own family member, has been replaced by an identical imposter. Sometimes they might even think that animals or objects have been swapped out. For example, a woman might accuse her child of being an imposter and start pressuring them to reveal their true identity. This syndrome can affect both men and women of any age, but it's more common in women. It's extremely rare, affecting only 1 to 4.1% of people with mental health conditions. Cotard syndrome. Imagine feeling like parts of your body are missing or that you're not even alive. That's what happens to people with Cotard syndrome. They might think they're dead or that nothing around them is real. It's a very rare condition with only about 200 cases known worldwide. But the good news is, with the right help, most people with Cotard syndrome can start feeling better. Alien hand syndrome. With alien hand syndrome, a person's hand acts on its own, seemingly ignoring the commands of their mind. During these moments, the affected hand feels unfamiliar to its owner and behaves intentionally, performing actions unintentionally. Exploding head syndrome. Exploding head syndrome is when you hear or feel a big explosion in your head as you're falling asleep or waking up. It's like a loud bang or flash that's not really there. These episodes are quick, lasting less than a second. Furgoli delusion makes people think that different people are actually just one person in disguise. They might believe someone they don't know is following them and pretending to be other people. Trichotillomania. Trichotillomania, or hair-pulling disorder, makes you have strong urges to pull out your hair from your head or body. Even if you try not to, you can't stop yourself from doing it. Stendhal syndrome. Stendhal syndrome is when art makes you feel really weird. It can give you strong feelings and make you feel sick, both in your mind and body. It's also known as aesthetic sickness. Foreign accent syndrome. Foreign accent syndrome is when someone starts talking with an accent that sounds like it's from another country, even though it's not. It often happens after a stroke, but can also be caused by head injuries, migraines, or developmental issues. Misophonia. Misophonia is when certain sounds, like breathing or chewing, make people feel really upset. These sounds can make them angry and want to get away. It's because their brain reacts strongly to these noises, even though others might not notice them. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Alice in Wonderland syndrome is a condition that messes up how you see the world or your own body. Things might seem bigger or smaller than they really are, like in the storybook. Jerusalem syndrome. In this disorder, people have strange thoughts or believe they're seeing things when they visit religious places like Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city with a lot of history and different religious groups. When people visit, they might feel overwhelmed or have unexpected experiences. Paris syndrome. Paris syndrome is when Japanese tourists get shocked by the difference between their idealized view of Paris and its reality. They might feel very disappointed or even faint when they see things like dog poop on the sidewalks. Stiff person syndrome, SPS, is a rare condition where muscles become very stiff and have painful spasms. These spasms can come and go and make the stiffness worse. Boanthropy. Boanthropy is a type where they think they're cows. About 25% of these people have schizophrenia, 23% have psychotic depression, and 20% have bipolar disorder. This disorder is more common in males than females. Urbach-Wiethe disease is a rare genetic disorder that damages brain tissue, causing memory loss and emotional numbness. It's very uncommon, with only about 400 known cases since it was discovered. The disease was officially identified in 1929 by doctors Urbach and Wiethe. Folie à deux shared psychotic disorder is when two or more people share a false belief or delusion. This often happens between two close people, but can involve more in very close relationships, like families. Sleeping Beauty syndrome, KLS, is a rare sleep disorder mostly found in teenage boys, making up 70% of cases. People with KLS have episodes of excessive sleep. In between episodes, they may feel normal. Erotomania is when someone believes a person, usually of higher status, is in love with them, even if they're not. It's pretty rare, and it's part of a condition called delusional disorder, which affects about 0.2% of people in their lifetime. Sometimes it's called the Clarenboltz syndrome, named after a French psychiatrist who first talked about it in 1921. Morgellons disease. In this disorder, some people feel like bugs are crawling on or under their skin, causing itching or stinging sensations. They might also have sores on their skin and notice colored fibers. This condition is treated with antidepressants, antipsychotic drugs, cognitive behavioral therapy, and counseling by healthcare providers who recognize it. Autophagia is when someone bites or eats their own body part, which is a type of self-injury. It can show up as nail biting or hair pulling in most cases, but sometimes it can be more serious, like biting off fingers. This behavior can happen in both humans and animals. Hybristophilia. Hybristophilia is when someone is sexually attracted to people who commit crimes. High-profile criminals, especially those who do terrible things, often get love letters in prison because of this. In rare cases, people who admire these criminals even marry them while they're in prison. This phenomenon is also called Bonnie and Clyde syndrome in popular culture. Body dysmorphic disorder is when you can't stop thinking about about a flaw in your appearance, even if others don't notice it. This makes you feel embarrassed and anxious, so you avoid social situations. You spend a lot of time checking your appearance in the mirror, grooming, or seeking reassurance. These behaviors cause you a lot of distress and make it hard to do daily activities. You might also try many cosmetic procedures to fix the perceived flaw. Hoarding disorder. People with hoarding disorder find it hard to throw away things because they feel they need to save them. Trying to get rid of items causes them a lot of distress, so they decide to keep them. This leads to clutter that makes it hard to use living spaces. Compulsive buying disorder. Compulsive buying disorder means you can't control your urges to shop and spend money, which causes problems. You might buy things you don't need on impulse and try to hide your shopping habit. This can lead to having lots of unopened items, like boxes of shoes or clothes, because you keep buying more without thinking. Internet addiction disorder. Individuals with internet addiction disorder spend too much time on the internet, gaming, or social media, causing harm to their mental health, relationships, and daily life. It's when using the internet becomes more important than other things like work or health. Some doctors aren't sure if it's a separate disorder. Treatment, like cognitive behavior therapy, helps people learn to use the internet in a healthy way. Intermittent explosive disorder means having sudden, intense bursts of anger or aggression that are out of proportion to the situation. This can include things like road rage, domestic abuse, throwing or breaking objects, or having temper tantrums. Impulse control disorders. Impulse control disorders involve conditions like kleptomania, compulsive stealing, pyromania, compulsive fire setting, and intermittent explosive disorder, impulsive aggression. People with these disorders find it hard to resist urges or impulses that lead to harmful behaviors.